Hi everyone and welcome back to my channel. I apologize for the mess over here, and I also apologize if you hear any weird sounds. That's my stomach. I'm actually really hungry and I'm gonna go eat after I'm done filming, but she's just being really loud right now, so you might hear her. I'm sorry. Recently, I welcomed home Theon, who is a leopard gecko, as you saw by the title, and he has a neurological disorder. Now, Theon is a little baby right now, so he's super cute, and I can't wait to show you guys him in a few minutes, but I want to preface his video a little bit by explaining what syndrome he has and why it was not done purposefully, and just a little bit of information about him. So, I was contacted by the person who bred Theon's parents when he was first born, so like right out of the egg. This individual noticed that Theon had some balance issues. He was really wobbly, and they sent me multiple videos of his condition and like what he looked like when he moved, and it reminded me so heavily of white and yellow syndrome because I have Jojen, who has white and yellow syndrome. But because I only have one white and yellow syndrome gecko, I was like, I don't want to say for sure because neither of the parents were present like white and yellow. Neither of them were. And so we decided like it had to be something else. Well, Theon's sibling was born, and Theon's sibling has all of the physical markers of white and yellow, but he doesn't have a syndrome. So this person talked to a few breeder friends of theirs, and they said it is possible that the white and yellow was in both the parents. Now, to be completely honest with you, when it comes to genetics, the only thing I know about genetics is how to talk about the syndromes or like the neurological issues. I'm not like super familiar with a lot of genetics, and so forgive me for not knowing. But the research that I've done on white and yellow syndrome indicates that not all white and yellows will have the syndrome because it is a separate gene, and you can separate white and yellow from that gene that causes the syndrome. So like a lot of lines of white and yellow have this syndrome because they haven't been separated, but some breeders like Gecko Boa, for example, and I'll include a like a post about white and yellow that he's done on his Facebook down below because it explains it way better. But the breeders who have separated that type of gene that causes the syndrome from what causes white and yellow to have the appearance that it does have been able to produce white and yellow geckos without the syndrome. Now I find this super interesting because Theon is not present for white and yellow. He doesn't look like white and yellow, but he does have the syndrome, which would make total sense because they don't have to be linked. You know, they don't have to be white and yellow and a syndrome. You can have two separate genes causing it, which is like I just explained. This is not similar to Enigma syndrome. Enigma syndrome, the gene Enigma is what causes the neurological issues. They are linked 100%, and you cannot get an Enigma without Enigma syndrome all the way down its line. Like, you may have one that doesn't present many symptoms or doesn't really show symptoms at all, but that does not mean its offspring won't have Enigma syndrome, and that doesn't mean its parent didn't either. Whereas with white and yellow, you can have many geckos who are just fine and don't present it, and then you'll have one that does. And that shows that that line carries that gene for the syndrome, but that it doesn't present itself alongside white and yellow. It just happens to be a different thing. So there have been breeders who have been really great about separating white and yellow, the gene, from this syndrome, which is a separate gene. And then they have a line of white and yellows that are syndrome-free, which is really great. But then there are people who don't recognize the slightest of symptoms, and there are people who don't care that the gecko has problems, and so they will just continue to breed white and yellows with the syndrome to white and yellows with the syndrome or without, and that will muddy up the lines of geckos that don't have the syndrome or don't have the gene potential for the syndrome. So I hope that makes sense. Again, I will include a post down below about it, and I can only say what the breeder told me about Theon because I didn't breed Theon, I don't know his parents, but neither of the parents, in my eyes, visually represented white and yellow, but the sibling does. Like I said, when I first saw Theon, his movements right out of the egg, I was like, that reminds me so much of white and yellow syndrome. So what is white and yellow syndrome? So if you're familiar with any of my explanations on Enigma syndrome, it's not like that. Enigma syndrome is a lot of stargazing, head tilting, a lot of like shakiness and wobbliness, and it can also include like seizures, death rolling, circling. It's much worse. Enigma syndrome is worse. Not to say that white and yellow isn't bad, Enigma is worse. But white and yellow syndrome, what you'll have is really grand movements. So their steps will be really wide like this, and then they'll come down hard and they'll do a wobble like that. That's typically what you'll see. You don't see circling, you don't see death rolling, you don't see head tilts, you don't see anything like that. But a lot of times it's worse when geckos are younger. So like when they come right out of the egg or they're still juveniles, their movements will be a lot more wobbly. I don't know if that's the proper word, but they'll be really grand, really uneven movements that cause their body to wobble like that. And I'll include some footage of Theon doing this to help you get an understanding. But there is no cure for it, there is no treatment for it, it's just part of the gecko. It seems to be an equilibrium issue that gets better with age, and though it may never go away, you may see a decrease in symptoms in adults. And this is different from Enigma because oftentimes Enigmas get worse with age, or worse with stress, or worse with health decline, whereas white and yellows, I have not seen that to be the case. Now, if you're breeding a white and yellow and an Enigma, you're gonna have all kinds of problems, and there are geckos like that exist. People breed white and yellow to Enigma all the time, and that just complicates things further, so that's a different video for a different day. So if you were gonna ask a question about that, I'll make another video about it someday, but it just ain't the time right now. Okay, so back to Theon. Theon is a cute little gecko. He is just the loveliest little boy. He's been tongue feeding really well, and he's been in quarantine. He still is in quarantine, and he'll be moving into this bottom enclosure in a couple days. I'm really excited to do that for him. But now that I've kind of explained a bit about him, I want to show you guys me unboxing him, and then I will come back for an enclosure tour and a couple feedings, and then I'll see you guys for the outro. Hello everyone, time for a reptile unboxing. The person who delivered my little gecko here was not actually the normal person. In fact, it was a woman. I've never had a woman deliver a gecko to me before. So she was like, "Oh, you're standing out here." And I was like, "Yes, I'm not gonna miss this package for anything." I always stand out there, like as soon as I see the truck come down the street. She was like, "Oh, what is it?" And she took a really like gentle look at the box, and she was like, "A gecko." And I was like, "Yes, indeed, that's my gecko." It's a tiny little box because it's a tiny little baby. I'll show you the size of the box. Here. See? Itty bitty baby. And I apologize if I look a little bit rough, but it is the morning hours. I've been up since 7:40 and it's now like 10 o'clock. Because, you know, they say deliver before 10:30, which is true, but sometimes like they deliver way before 10:30. And I'd rather just make sure that I'm here for my gecko instead of being there for my gecko. If you get that reference, it's from The Office, and we can be friends. And I'm trying to be really gentle so as not to alarm this little gecko. Okay. Moment of truth. This is the part that's always the worst. Because I don't want to see a dropped tail, Elia. I don't want to see any deceased gecko, which is always a risk. Oh, it's still nice and warm. This is still so warm. Perfect. Hello, little one. Okay, still has his tail and he's still alive. And he's nice and warm. Holy hell, well done, well done. This was a good heat pack. It's still hot. Every time I get a heat pack, it's not still hot. This is still like hot to the touch. And it was properly insulated. Well done, well done. Okay, so here he is. This is Theon. Hi, Jackson. You curious, baby? No, no, no. No. Sit down. Sit. Good boy. So Theon is this cute little baby. Just a sweet little angel baby boy. Just a sweet little thing. Did you poop in here? You did. It smells like poop. It was hidden. I couldn't see it. You tricked me out. I always look for poop so I can know if it's gonna be stinky when I open it. He tricked me out. How are you? Oh, little one. So cute. I've actually been watching this baby since he was born. Here you go. If you hear Jackson chewing his bone, I apologize, but he gets real fussy whenever I sit in front of this camera. See, look at his wobble. Oh, my little wobbly baby. Oh, yes. Yes, cute little boy. Oh, I forgot to say, his name is Theon. It's probably in the title, but his name's Theon. My next Game of Thrones name. Oh, that was a wobble. Did you see that? Whoa, careful. Here, I'm gonna lower the camera so that I don't have to hold him like above my head. Sorry if it's so low now, but I don't feel comfortable holding him all the way up here. Hi, honey. And I still want to be a good YouTuber and put him on camera. Some of the geckos are awake because the lights just came on in the room and it's like super dark out because it's raining. So like Melisandre's awake right now doing her spinning. Liana is staring at me with food in her eyes, always hungry. Who else is awake right now? I think that's it from what I can see anyway. Oh, hello. I'm just a wobbly little boy. What you looking at? Hmm? You are cute as a button, no doubt about it. I wish you guys could see from my angle right now because his face is so cute. So sweet. What a little baby. Liana is staring at Theon with hunger in her eyes. You cannot eat him. She's literally charging at the plexiglass, the acrylic. He's not for you, honey. No, he's not. You couldn't eat him anyway. He's too big for you to eat. Honestly. Liana is crazy. Like, I've thought about moving her from this bookshelf to one of those just so she's lower to the ground because she will charge out of her house to eat and I have to like gauge where she's going so I can like throw the food her direction basically with the tongs. Just kind of like keep her back. She's wild. But I've heard Max Snow Blizzards are wild and she definitely is. She's just like hardcore staring at him right now. Liana, get your shit together, girl. So I was stuck on a name. I always kind of get stuck on names early on, like which Game of Thrones name I'll pick. And it was between, oh, I'm so sorry. It was between Gendry or Theon or Micah. Micah is the little ginger boy that Joffrey had killed because he bested him in a duel. Well, Arya did, but anyways, yeah, he embarrassed Joffrey, so Joffrey had him murdered, which, Joffrey. And then I also thought about Gendry because Gendry's a good character. But eventually, with some help from people on Patreon, as well as like on Instagram and Twitter, I picked Theon. And also, if you're on Patreon, you've known about him for like forever, since he was born basically. Since I agreed to take him, I shared him, photos of him, like right as soon as I had them. Oop, careful. Yeah, you're just this cute little baby, aren't you? Yes, very cute baby. He's gonna be in quarantine and then he's gonna go into the last gecko bookshelf right down there. The last shelf of the new one. Yep. Up there is Carsey, who I haven't even introduced on my channel yet. And then Arya, who you've met bazillions of times. Is that her sitting in her hammock right now? Yep, that's her sitting in her hammock. All the way back there. You can kind of see her little white belly. And then underneath of Arya will be Theon. Right? Will be Theon. Okay. I'm going to go put him in his house. He's just a darling. Look at him. Alright, Theon. Oh, yes. Say bye, everybody, with that cute face. Say bye. I'll see you guys again soon. So I don't know how many clips I'll take of him while he's in quarantine, but I will for sure record him in his new house, especially like just a tour of what his enclosure will look like. I'm actually about to spend some money here on Black Friday to buy a bunch of like plants and decor for the enclosures. Oh, I gotcha. You're okay. That's why I want to do it low, because if he falls off the side, I can just cradle him with my arm. So he's good. Oh yeah, pro tip for anybody handling baby geckos or who's new to handling geckos, handle them close to the ground because they can jump and then you're that's not good if your gecko falls. So people will have messaged me and being like, oh, my gecko dropped out of my hand and hit the ground, now it's black, its belly's all black and green. I'm like, oh, it has internal bleeding and it's gonna die. So, you know, handle your geckos close to the ground, please, especially if like you're not used to handling them, because when they get squirmy you might just react by like letting them squirm out of your hand, especially if they're little. So just Play it safe. All right, we're gonna put you in your house. Bye, guys. Okay, so I normally wouldn't do this, but I have the flash on for his enclosure tour because the bottom enclosure is just so dark, and right now, like, because it's nighttime, there's like no natural light in the room, so it's just really, really hard to see what's going on. But I wanted to let you guys actually see the tour. So I'm going to start out with the flash on and then later I'll turn it off. But basically he has the same type of structure as all the other Gecko bookshelves, where he's in an individual shelf. Here's the whole shelf. And it has kitchen cabinet liner as the substrate. And then he has his humid hide over here, like all my other geckos. He has some Exo Terra hanging plants. And he also has a ground plant made by Exo Terra. And then he has a hammock back there because I'm sure he's gonna like to climb as he grows, you know. He's already climbing because he's inside of here. That's his cork round. And then he has a cork flat, which is like really small, but because he's young, it works great. But when he gets older, he'll have to get a new one. And it looks really bare. Oh, hi, BB. Look, there he is. Doo-dee-doo-dee-doo. It looks really bare, but it's just because the flash is on it, it makes it look so like empty and weird. Watch, I'll turn the flash off and you'll see the difference. See how much like more darkness is provided, so it looks like there's a lot more hiding places because the flash isn't on. Look how cute he is. But yeah, that's the entirety of his enclosure. And this back here is a spot for ventilation. So there's actually a mesh screen over top of it, so he cannot get out through that hole. I just wanted to be very clear about that. And also, I get this question a lot. Yes, this enclosure has a door. The door is actually right here. See? Door. So he can't just like walk right out the front. There's a door that goes on it. So anyways, say bye to Theon. Cute little boy. What an angel. Oh my god. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed meeting Theon, my little lovely last leopard gecko. I always say that, you know, this is my last leopard gecko, and then it never is, but I have absolutely no desire to get any more leopard geckos. I have some personal goals for next year that I'd like to achieve that have literally nothing to do with animals. I think it's nice to do that. I focused on animals a lot this year and for the past few years, and so next year I just want to achieve some personal goals, and I feel like I wouldn't be able to do that as well if I continued to bring in reptiles. So don't expect to see any more like welcome home videos for any reptiles that I'll be getting, because I haven't gotten any recently except for Theon, and I don't plan to anytime soon. So I hope you enjoyed seeing Theon and meeting Theon, and I hope you enjoy that he's the last little baby for quite some time. If you have any questions, comments, or concerns, leave them down below for me and I will get back to them. Also, please subscribe, hit the notification bell, leave a like, all that good stuff, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!